The next big thing on the WWE calendar is the upcoming draft that will take place on SmackDown on April 26th and will follow up on Raw on April 29th. It was noted that the WWE is doing the draft at this time to capitalize on the momentum from the upcoming NFL draft that will take place around the same time. So since they are capitalizing on their momentum, I'm going to shamelessly do the same and take this time to predict what I think is going to happen on the upcoming WWE draft. But before we get into it, do your boy a favor, hit that like button, comment down below what you guys think of my draft picks, and share this video and hit that subscribe button to help my channel grow. Now let's get into the predictions. Now I'm going to start off pretty big because this is something that's kind of confusing to me. It's the new undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. What's confusing is that since he is now the WWE champion, he just mentioned on Monday Night Raw that because of that, he is now considerably a SmackDown superstar. I don't remember WWE officially announcing this. Maybe I missed it, but I never seen it. But it does kind of make sense since that tournament that they're doing to determine the #1 contender for the WWE title is only taking place on SmackDown. And I don't know if Cody Rhodes, because of this, will also be a part of the draft pool. That goes the same for Damian Priest, who was the current World Heavyweight Champion on Monday Night Raw. But I'm going to assume that they are. And in this case, I'm going to say that Cody Rhodes will be a part of Monday Night Raw going forward after the draft for multiple reasons. The biggest being that because of the Netflix deal that's happening in early 2025, I think that they would want Cody Rhodes to be a part of Monday Night Raw when that takes place, whether he is champion or not. We know that at some point Cody Rhodes and The Rock will meet up. Some people predict that that will happen at SummerSlam or even as late as next year's WrestleMania. And let's just assume that they do wait until WrestleMania season to do it. At that time, Raw will already be on Netflix, and I would assume that Netflix would definitely want that storyline to be taking place on their platform. And regardless of what's going on, regardless of who is the champion, I'm under the impression that there is a 1A and a 1B storyline at all times. 1A being the never-ending Bloodline storyline, and 1B being whatever the hell Cody Rhodes is doing. But there are so many confusing and unanswered factors that play into my predictions here. So simply put, I'm just going to say that Cody Rhodes and the WWE Championship will be on Monday Night Raw after the draft. And speaking of championships moving over brands, I predict that Logan Paul will also be moving over to Monday Night Raw with the United States Championship for one specific reason and one reason only. That is because on one of the latest episodes of Impulsive with Triple H as his guest, Logan Paul made it very clear that he wants to move over to Monday Night Raw. He asked Triple H multiple times during that interview to move him over, and I think that Triple H or whoever is in charge of these moves will do just that. I think a big reason why Logan Paul also wants to move over is because he wants to be a part of Raw during this Netflix deal, transition, whatever you call it. So ultimately, I think that Logan Paul will be a member of Monday Night Raw. Next up, I'm going to talk about two people that have been feuding with Logan Paul in Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I think because this feud may not be done with completely, that they both, because of that, will move over to Monday Night Raw as well to continue this feud up until probably SummerSlam. Because I think that at SummerSlam, it will be Logan Paul versus Randy Orton one-on-one for the United States Championship. And of course, the only way that can happen is if they are all on the same brand. So that is one reason I could see those two people moving over. But for Randy Orton himself, because I already predicted that the WWE Championship will be on Monday Night Raw, I think that Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton should definitely have a feud for that title sooner than later during this run for Cody Rhodes, because that is a must do. Like, you have to capitalize on that. So Randy Orton moving to Raw is not only for the US title, but also to have a potential feud with Cody Rhodes. Now, since I have the United States Championship moving over to Raw, you know the obvious thing that's going to happen next. The Intercontinental Championship thus must move over to Friday Night SmackDown, which means Sami Zayn will take that title to Friday nights And of course, we know how WWE does things. He is now in a feud with Chad Gable, which means that Gable also will move over to Friday Night SmackDown. In fact, maybe they'll move over the entire Alpha Academy with him, but since Gable is a heel now, and Otis and Maxine are babyfaces, maybe they'll just separate them at this point and have the Alpha Academy stay on Raw. I don't know. But Gable and Sami Zayn, I predict will move over to SmackDown for sure. And similarly to them two, there is another group that has a storyline, well, just one person from that group really, that may have unfinished business with both Sami Zayn and Gable, and that is Gunther alongside with Imperium. I predict that they will now move back over to Friday Night SmackDown so that Gunther can get his rematch with Sami Zayn, and maybe sometime down the line, Gable will get his match, his redemption against Gunther. Now moving over to a little bit more of confusion, because before the latest episode of Monday Night Raw, I had in my predictions that the entire Judgment Day will move over to Friday Night SmackDown. More so because Damian Priest as the World Heavyweight Champion would probably fit more well on SmackDown. So I have the Judgment Day moving over to SmackDown, but also I was thinking of a switch of women's championships as well, as Rhea Ripley would move over to SmackDown along with the Judgment Day, bringing her Women's World Championship over. But since she is no longer the champion, that is all up in the air. And I don't know when they're going to crown a new champion, if it's going to be before the draft or if it's going to be at Backlash or wherever. But it will be kind of difficult to move over a championship to a different brand when there is no current champion. And we all know that Rhea Ripley is going right back after that Women's World Championship when she returns. So this is a bit confusing, but I'm still going to stick with it and say that somehow they figure out a way to bring that title to SmackDown. And with that, I say that the person that injured Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, will move over to SmackDown, and she may even be the next Women's World Champion. Or I say that she might at least be the champion by the time Rhea Ripley returns. So that feud can be the headlining women's feud on Friday Night SmackDown going forward. And since I predict a title swap for shows, not a literal title swap like they did before, but you know what I mean, I say that Bayley will move over to Monday Night Raw. I don't really have much of a reason behind this, so simply put, Bayley moves over to Raw. And also moving to Raw would be the person that Bayley said that she wants to face next, and that is Naomi. But not just Naomi. I say that all three women in that group that I'm not sure has a name yet. Wait, is it the Big Three? Is that their name? I don't know if that's official, but Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair all moving over to Monday Night Raw. Once again, there's no big reason why I say this. I just think that the women's division on both shows would need some kind of shakeup. In fact, here's one reason. Because I predict that Rhea Ripley will move over to SmackDown, I say you keep Rhea and Bianca as far away from each other as possible until their inevitable WrestleMania feud that will take place sometime in the next 2 years, hopefully. So regardless of what happens, I say that those two will be on separate brands after the draft no matter what. And since Bianca is moving over, you know how things go. The couples have to stay together, which means that the Pride, which has Montez Ford as a member, will move over to Monday Night Raw as well. This gives the opportunity for Bobby Lashley to get his hands on the WWE Championship and Cody Rhodes, because that is a dream match for me. Not a match that I really thought about in the past, but since the idea has been brought up, I think that that is a match that definitely needs to happen during this Cody Rhodes title reign, because Bobby Lashley is far overdue from a world championship opportunity. Now, on the same topic of couples, we have Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I think that they will move over to Friday Night SmackDown. Now, at this moment, they are both on a little break post-WrestleMania. They are both banged up, which also means that neither are currently a part of any big storyline, or any storyline for that matter, on WWE programming. So their move over to a different brand would be no issue. I know that Seth Rollins has his thing with CM Punk, but that can wait until WrestleMania next year, and either man can be champion or either man can win the Royal Rumble to get to that point. And I also think that Roman Reigns will stay on SmackDown, spoiler alert, and that Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns will have some kind of storyline in the near future by the end of 2024, whether it's a one-on-one match or them finally teaming up once again. Main event Jey Uso. So on their most recent episode of Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes told Jey Uso that this is your show now. But since Jey Uso is the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, I say that he moves over to SmackDown just to keep my predictions making sense. And also because I think that Jey Uso will inevitably get involved in the Bloodline story sooner than later, because we know what happened to his brother Jimmy, who I also predict will stay on SmackDown, because I have no doubt in my mind that those two, by the end of 2024, would make up and be teammates once again. Okay, so the WWE roster is way too big for me to give every prediction for, so I'm just going to keep it with the big names, and I'm going to pretty much end it here with the Bloodline, who I pretty much spoiled already, who I say will stay on Friday Night SmackDown, because like I said earlier, there's a 1A and a 1B story, and those storylines should take place on different shows. And I say that SmackDown is forever, well, not forever ever, but this version of the Bloodline just belongs on SmackDown. So Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, even now Jey Uso and Tama Tonga, and whatever new member in the future that will join this storyline will all be doing so on the Blue brand. Okay, so that concludes my predictions for the WWE Draft. Obviously, I did nowhere near the amount of superstars that are actually on the roster, but that video would take forever. I just currently did the top storylines that are going on right now, because going any deeper would be kind of pointless because there is just no indication right now for anybody really. I know that there are some confirmed NXT call-ups that are coming to the main roster, but for even them, I just have no idea where they will land. So for now, that concludes my 2024 WWE Draft predictions. But since we're all just fantasy booking, let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the draft. Leave your comments down below. What do you think of my picks, and what are your picks? If you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. And for everybody else, including the new viewers, hit that like button, comment down below. Let me know what kind of content you guys want to see next. And you guys, stay smooth.